Hey guys, so welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let's carry on where we left off. Our reputation is about to go down the toilet. If it hasn't already, we're on par with the Skulkin brothers in terms of being big fat liars. At least Gina is. We've put her on the stand because it's about time we came clean about her crime of perjury that she committed during case number 3. Lord Van Zeek's obviously gobbling it all up, ready for us to set fire to our own case so he can seize the victory. Let's find out the truth of the omnibus case. Alright, just like in the previous testimony given by dear old Ashley Graydon there, I think we're going to need to go in order. Most likely we're going to need to present our McGilded case notes, if they're not going to get updated along the way. Let's start with the truth that the Brickmaker Cove was in the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Miss Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the seats with McGilded's big fat ass on top of it.
Yeah, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all.
Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, I feel certain that you claimed Mr. McGilded was the sole passenger, did you not? False testimony, my lord.
That's what you told me I had to say.
Hey, plenty of people have lied on the stand here. Why the hell is Gina being, persecuted? Probably because we got a not guilty verdict for McGilded, so certainly it's a lot more dire than the rest because we at least stamped out their lies while they were on the stand. This is coming back to haunt us 2 months later. But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGilded and the victim acquaintances?
I don't know.
I mean, we can infer that they were because Mr. Mason's name was in his ledger, I believe, owing him money.
But I didn't hear him talking a lot.
What were they talking about?
Well, I couldn't hear too well. But if I had to say, I think it was about money or something. They kept talking about buying and not buying.
Perhaps business dealings of some kind.
Well, anyway, they got louder and louder. It started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I hardly dared to breathe. And then all of a sudden, I heard a noise like someone keeling over on the floor. It was blimmin' loud and all.
And I believe you let out an involuntary scream?
Yeah. That's what gave me away.
I see. Okay. So there's a bit of truth interspersed with the lies. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. Was the disc you saw this disc? Although obviously there was no blood on it at the time.
Yeah, I reckon it probably was.
Was it labeled for McGilded?
It was right next to the cove lying on the floor.
Could this disc have belonged to the victim, perhaps?
I don't know, but McGilded picked it up pretty smartish. And then he sat at the cove with the knife in his belly up on the seat.
What did he say to you at that time?
He told me not to say a word about what I'd seen or heard to no one. About the disc and all. I was dead scared. The way he was looking at me, I thought, if I didn't go along with it, I'd get stuck with that knife too. Then he started asking me a load of questions. Like what my name was and where I lived and that. He asked me about being a diver too.
But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed?
Yeah, that's right. First there was a kind of rapping noise.
I wonder if Graydon is going to interject with something. I don't think Gregson is. All of a sudden I heard a scream from over me head, and that pair on the roof deck went off to call the slops.
Hold it!
The slops, huh? There were 2 gentlemen occupying the seats on the roof deck, I believe.
That's right.
It was Lady First and... Oh, I almost called him Bruce Goodman again, didn't I? Bruce Fairplay. That's the name. I don't know why I'm stuck with the Rise from the Ashes case from Ace Attorney 1.
They must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cove with the knife in his guts. When they screamed, the driver pulled up the horses and McGilded got me out of sight.
I wonder if we're going to see Lady First again. We've seen practically everyone, like, twice. Apart from, I guess, the leader of the union, Beppo, etc., etc. Out of sight? Where?
Back under the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to an halt, the 2 coves from the roof ran off to fetch the slops, not the shops.
If they immediately left to fetch the police, it would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So that left McGilded, the driver, and you still at the scene.
Yeah. Only the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside.
The driver, yes. He also testified in the trial, I believe. Yeah, good old Beppo. I'm pretty sure he's not cold now if he was turned to ash. If he's indeed the one that was in the carriage at the time. I still don't think that McGilded's dead. Surely not, it was a fake. A fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves. Mm-hmm. What did McGilded and the driver say to each other? Especially now that we've got more, of a connection between McGilded and the driver.
I don't know what happened. Stuff like that, mainly. That's when McGilded slipped the driver some tin to do a run to the pawn shop roundabout.
Hold it!
That pawn shop obviously being Windibanks on Baker Street. Just a moment, Counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well? Perhaps the excursion to the pawnbrokery slipped his mind when he was in the stand. Yeah, maybe he had brain freeze or something. Indeed, Lord Van Zeeks. Yeah, for Beppo, it was probably just, you know, a casual forgetfulness, but with Gina, oh, it was malicious indeed.
McGilded took off his coat and gave it to the driver. Folded it up all careful-like before I handed it over. When I saw him do that, I remember thinking, that coat and what's in it's got to be worth a few bob.
Right. Yes, Gina was sure the disc must be worth more than the Windibank was suggesting, wasn't she? And I guess she was worried about the coat as well. I remember her quibbling with him over the price that afternoon at the pawnbrokery.
The driver looked pretty happy when McGilded flashed some brass in his face. He went running off at the lick. Then the bog trotter called to me and told me to come out from the drag's cabin.
I wonder if, I mean, indeed, Beppo did die in the carriage because he knew too much. Maybe he was trying to blackmail McGilded, whereas Gina quite rightly kept her head down because, you know, she's not a snitch, and she probably would have been in over her head trying to cut a deal. Perhaps. I don't know. Just spitballing some theories here and there. You know, I have to do it at some point, even if I am embarrassed to share potentially incorrect guesses.
He threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard.
Hold it!
This is the last statement. Threaten you how exactly?
Told me I'd only be able to scarper if I did exactly what he said.
Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago.
Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said.
Which was?
He told me I'd have to hang on to the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it.
The ticket? Well, I never!
So that if he didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I had to go to the pawn shop and pay the money to keep it in lug, stop it from being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it.
But really, why on earth would Mr. McGilded have done such a thing? He's an enigma, that man. Depositing his overcoat with a pawnbroker before the arrival of the police? It makes no sense at all. There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What McGilded had the driver deposit at Windibanks was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs.
Anyway, after that he let me go, so I legged it before the coppers showed up.
Well done, Gina. Can't have been easy to tell the truth like that. Certainly not, especially when it's a crime.
Ginny's really put her faith in you, Rito.
Yes, and to thank her, she'll have to face a charge of perjury once this trial's over. So I need to use the time we have now to get as much information out of her as possible.
It's time to really go for it. Press her on every statement.
It's what I did. I suppose I should.
Oh, and another thing.
What's that?
Take a look at those two. Isn't it strange that they've been whispering to each other the entire time?
I didn't notice. I did notice his back was turned, but I never thought to look at them both. Interesting. What on earth is going on here? Yes, that is strange. Looks like they're having a secret discussion about something. I'm not sure I'm completely comfortable with that. I wonder if there's anything I can do about it. Is there? Can I toss a rock at them? Hey, Iris, can you shoot them? Okay, well, Iris has suggested that I press every statement. I have. Unfortunately, we got no reaction from either of them. Maybe I need to go again. Let's blitz through it.
Hold it!
Maybe I just need to press them, even though they don't saying anything when there's no indication to do so.
Excuse me.
Excuse me? Turn around, will ya? Pay attention. Is there something you'd like to share with the court, Inspector Gregson and Mr. Graydon? Inspector! Mr. Graydon! Wah! Blimey, you trying to get me a heart attack? You've been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about? Discussion? With this fella? Pull the other one, sunshine. You think I've got anything to talk about with a shady jet like this? Oh, what were you doing, making out then?
And I have nothing to say to this uncased detective after he deprived me of that disc that was rightfully mine.
But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. It's as if they've been negotiating. Well? Oh, good. So, all I needed to do was say, excuse me. Perfect. Thank you, Miss Lestrade. Thank you, Counsel. I've heard enough. I believe we now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus. It would appear on the night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. A negotiation concerning this disc. However, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, McGilded took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life. Which proves my point. The disc is clearly extremely valuable in some way. Although I don't understand why as yet. I'm pretty sure that's not now that's what I call music's greatest hits, -50. And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, McGilded's coat and its contents were due to be forfeited.
I didn't know what I should do with the ticket. I mean, the coat did die right after his trial, I knew that.
So you decided you would try to claim the articles as your own.
Well, why not, eh? They were only going to be forfeited, why shouldn't I have got them? Anyway, you can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking about no crime. Thinking ain't no crime. Yeah, you're going to charge her with thought crime? This ain't 1984. It's about like 1894. Miss Lestrade, it would appear Mr. McGilded was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be? Eh? I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. He was probably going to sell it. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime.
I wonder if it's like some sort of... Like, obviously, there's not going to be music on it. Maybe it's, foreign intelligence or something. Hang on, let's review that newspaper article. Government secrets being leaked to foreign agencies. Perhaps there was something on the disc revealing such secrets. I wonder if Thrice-Fired Mason was also a spy. My lord! The evidence your lordship requested has been located and is ready for the court's inspection, sir. There we go, the box. What's in the box? What's in the box? It's not a head, is it? The mysterious little box deposited by McGilded 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that it's a key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. But surely the box is empty, right? What are we going to learn from it? What are we going to glean from it? I wonder. To be continued. Damn it! So close again! Well, there it is. So this is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited with the pawnbroker by Mr. McGilded 2 months ago. And on the night of Mr. Windibank's murder. The only item on the shelves that was touched by whoever broke into the shop.
Quick, quick, let's open it and see what's inside.
Okay. Looks like there is still something in there. Whoa. What on earth is this contraption? Good gracious! This is no ordinary box, it seems. Is it a music box? Wow. Although in truth I had an inkling that might be the case. It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement. Indeed. Graydon does not look happy. Then, is it too much to expect? I think it would be reasonable to assume that it is a device for the playback of this disc, my lord. Well, let's play some government secrets in front of the gallery, shall we? So here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilden's disc, deposited at Windibags at much the same time. I guess, Sholmes' order of all those music boxes is going to count for nothing. Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not McGilden's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus. But it says for McGilden, so technically it was for him. But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to Mrs. McGilden? What was he making beats in his spare time, was he? In his basement? DJ Mason? Not quite. At least we're putting our hand up without our bug eyes going off. I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord. Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to this curious disc at last. Imagine if it was like fucking Rick Astley or some shit.
Hold it!
Uh-oh. Wait, my lord! Oh, Inspector Gregson. Why shouldn't we play this music to the court? Are we gonna get hit with a copyright claim? Good grief! What is the meaning of this, Inspector? I'm the freaking judge! The music box and the disc are, well, they're unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music.
Objection!
Silly music, huh? This disc may very well have motivated the culprit in this case to commit murder. Clearly there's every chance that it's fundamentally important to understanding what happened. The prosecution has no objection. But no, that piece of evidence is police property. I don't give a fuck. Clearly Scotland Yard has some vested interest here. But it is policy of the prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. Gah! No further delays, please. Play the disc. Oh, Inspector Gregson, I hope your retirement's in order.
Oh, see?
What a sweet melody this is. What on earth? Imagine, like 5 seconds later, we're targeting the Prime Minister of England. We're gonna blow him up at the Crystal Tower at 12 noon tomorrow. That's certainly not what I would call music.
Now, that's not what you call music?
No. It's like Morse code or something.
Thankfully, we've got a transmitter, juror number 5.
It's just the same note playing over and over again in an irregular sequence. Mr. Graydon? This really is priceless.
He's dancing to it.
He probably... After all that, the music box is broken. He probably already knows what it said because he's a spy, right? He works in the communications office. He probably translated it in his head. Broken? It can't be, can it?
Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised
If the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom. Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept that this music box offers little in the way of clues. Come on, Van Zeeks, help me out here. I'm your learned friend. Are you ready to move on, Counsel? Come on. Yes, alright. It does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music emanating from the music box possibly be a new clue? Of course it is. I believe that it could be relevant, my lord. Good lord, but how could it be? It's broken. It's an abomination, Counsel. Mere noise. I fail to see how it can have any meaning whatsoever. It does sound strange, I agree, and I promise it's not the youth's music. But there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there chortling victoriously, the inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. You don't have to be Apollo Justice to see that something's wrong here. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow. And that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer me this. Oh? Play it again. Well, just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has on the case? Well, it's the defense's belief that the sound emanating from this music box is not supposed to be music. Just because this is a music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Uh-oh. Who's chortling now? Look at that, the smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here. I must be. Speaking of lines and dots.
Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Reno.
Objection!
Well, it's pretty telling what Van Zeeks feels. The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told us what they are not, I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Well, surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be the death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness. They've got me. I don't know what the answer is yet.
Reno, I've just examined the music box very thoroughly. And I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all.
Really? What about the disc?
Really? The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway.
Thank you, Iris. Okay. So it's made for the explicit purpose of repeating the same note over and over. Alright, well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sounds it's producing have some significance that isn't musical. I wonder what it could be. How much longer can I draw this out? Oh. Could it be? Is that what these sounds are?
Something's just struck me, Reno.
Me too.
I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like the one this music box makes.
Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing. Stop. I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, counsel? All the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now. The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponese friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation. Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. And if I'm right, it's going to join all the dots together. Literally. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds on this music box disc is... Oh, I have to present evidence? Okay. Right, well, having gone through the entirety of the court record, there's not really a lot I can present. The only thing that really comes to mind is today's paper about government secrets being leaked to foreign agencies, because I can't exactly present juror number 5, unfortunately. I feel like this is, you know, going one step too far too early. I feel like we need a bridge between, you know, explaining the nature of the sounds of the music box disc and the fact that government secrets are being leaked. I mean, we've got 4 lives left. I'm pretty comfortable with just presenting this, and if not, then I'll just have to look harder.
Take that!
Today's paper, counsel. Good. The headline is Pawnbroker Perishes in Pick-Purse Plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause. No, my lord, I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page. Further down, Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter, being investigated at the highest level, I understand. I have heard that international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. And presumably, those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams? Of course. Ah, okay, well, yeah. This must be a telegram. Juror number 5, your input, please.
Stop. Oh, me, sir? Whatever's the matter?
You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not?
Yes, that's correct.
And the particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports. Now I'm starting to wonder about Mr. Graydon. Is he really a bad guy? I wonder if he was sent to recover that disc because it contains, you know, government secrets, and he's kind of like a homeland spy of sorts, which is why he's talking with Inspector Gregson right now, trying to bail them both out of getting in shit because the music box disc has made its way to court and is now being played openly in front of everybody. So he was trying to downplay it by saying, oh god, look, it's just a broken music box disc, but unfortunately, Inspector Gregson couldn't quite hide his poker face.
Oh, yes. We're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Work is extremely important.
Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound? Translate it for us. But be careful, there is a potential terrorist beside you.
You don't mean to say... Is it?
That's right, madam. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code.
But... I don't believe it.
Now correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Oh, sorry. Maybe Graydon's actually the mole. Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? I don't know his allegiance. Order! Order, please, everyone! Order! My throat! It's still recovering, damn it! But this is high treason, Council! Deserving of capital punishment! Too much new vocabulary. What is this treason? And what is capital punishment? Can someone translate the Morse code? Translate these words to me. The sorts of words I'd half expect you to know. For our sovereign governments of confidential information, hostile nations would surely pay almost any price. Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. But in the end, McGilded perished, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery. My word! In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry. Because if the disc were to be discovered before it found its way out of the country, it would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death. So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it. And in order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night. Because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. But Graydon knew that the disc was already in the wrong hands, quote-unquote. It was in Gregson's hands. So why break into the pawnbrokery? I mean, he didn't even take the freaking box. I could imagine if he, like, destroyed it or something. But no, he just tampered with it. Why? Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon? I don't know. Like, there's something a bit off about it, right? Like, he knew the disc wasn't there. Why risk breaking into the pawnbrokery? It had to be someone else. You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous! Absolutely preposterous! So, in response to the defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? Well, of course I do! I've had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away.
Objection!
Oh, now you're my friend, are you? Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense.
Delighted, I'm sure.
The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Winterbank. That being a most flagitious offense, for which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. We'll have to kill you twice. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. You don't want to add perjury to the list. So then, let us proceed. You may... Inspector Gregson? Oh god, what? You gotta let us have a rabbit and pork here, Governor. We got things to say. I beg your pardon? Who do you think you are?
What? Where'd you two come from?
Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is... professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin. But we ain't baddies enough to sell out our motherland. That's right. We're what they call... the Three Skulkin Brothers. Are you a Skulkin, Gregson? Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. Okay. Okay, thanks for rejoining the stand, I suppose. Graydon's counter. I'm a communications officer. I couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with Mr. McGilden anyway, was it not? I've no relation to the man. Look, all we done is break into the gaff the other night like what he told us to do. If we'd known there was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it. Now they're all turning on each other. So no relation to thrice-fired Mason, huh? Mr. Skulkin. One must still do, Governor. What's up? Do I take it that you now admit to the crime? That on the night in question you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally? And moreover, you did so as a party of 3, in collaboration with Mr. Graydon here. Well? We did, Gav, we did! Quiet down, please. What say you to that, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these two ruffians are referring to. You little rotter. Getting us mixed up in all this monkey business. He never said nothing about no government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight-up job. And what about the geezer whose shop it was, eh? Poor old bloke didn't have to die, did he? Oh, wow. Ah! Nice to know who your friends are. Wow, okay. So they're outing him as the murderer of Mr. Winnebank. Still, he was shot from an upward slope, but then I think we established that he was running at the time. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations. Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit it into the court record as evidence. Small music box has been entered into the court record. Okay. Cross-examination. Graydon's counter. Alright, well, this particular part of his testimony stands out to me, how he has no relation to the man. Taking a look at McGilded case notes, we've got Mason Milverton. So not quite Graydon. We're gonna need to probably press him on this. I want to know more. So 2 months ago in that omnibus, McGilded killed the brickmaker and stole the disc. Mr. Mason was a single man with almost nothing to his name. It seems he lived in an artisan quarter some years ago, but people there remember little about him. That doesn't make much sense though, does it? How would a humble brickmaker come to acquire secret government information? How indeed. There must have been somebody else involved behind the scenes in all of this. Somebody who acquired the disc and gave it to Mr. Mason, in order to take it to the meeting with McGilded and negotiate a deal. Timmy. You may have it in for me, sir, but I assure you, I have far more class than that. An old brickmaker from an artisan quarter and this well-to-do communications officer. If only I could find some evidence to link the two of them together. Looks like we're going to be pressing more statements. If you have nothing more to add on that note, let us return to the witness testimony. All of a sudden, we seem to be up to our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although all this talk about interception of secret government messages is still just conjecture at this stage.
It would explain a number of things, though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Ginny overheard in the omnibus 2 months ago, and the break-in at Winterbanks. The trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus with Mr. McGilded.
No, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker who was so horribly murdered.
If only there was some link between the two men somehow.
I know, for real, I know. That's the statement I need to present something on. Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. I wonder if the key to us making headway with the cross-examination here lies in the music box. Or it could be those two brothers. Who said they could eat in court? Then again, freaking Gregson has his chips still in his hand. Okay, we got a little button at the bottom here. I wonder if that's just to open the music box. Oh,
What is it, Rene?
I've just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the bottom of it opens up as well.
Ah, you're right. Well, come on then. What are you waiting for? Let's open it.
Alright then, here goes.
Look at that. There's another movement on the underside.
So, does that mean you can set another disc to play back on this side?
Yes, I think so. It looks like two movements are linked together.
They're linked? So you need to play two discs? So if you had two discs,
They would play back at the same time.
I see, so maybe the message was incomplete. Where would the other disc be, though? Who would have thought there would be a second movement on the underside of the box?
And this movement is like the other one. The comb's teeth are all the same length.
So this movement also only produces a single tone like the other one? What an awkward music box this is. Like, you know, you have to open up both lids.
Yes, must do. Except that the length of the teeth on the two combs isn't the same. So the single tone produced by this movement will be different to the single tone we've already heard.
Oh, okay. What?
Basically, each movement can only produce a single note.
But the notes they produce are different. Huh. Why would you need to play two tones, though? I wonder. A music box that can only play two tones. Well, it's time to press these two, starting with Nash skulking. Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean? That's it, yeah. Who else, eh? Silly me thought he was just popping over for a nap after all them years, but the Roy had a dodgy job for us. Hey, Ash. He doesn't care for them at all. Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say? Where did you guys live, perhaps? An artisan quarter, maybe. Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours? We're the sociable kind of baddies, you know. Sure, let's say Mr. Graydon's an old China. What?
Excuse me.
What are you snorting at? Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin? Hey? Not you, the other one. No, the other Mr. Skulkin. What? Who, me? When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a right old laugh together way back when. Together? With Mr. Graydon, you mean? Please say his name for the court. Yeah, with Ash. I mean, you look at him now and his fancy whistle and flute and you wouldn't add him believe it. What? But when he was younger, he was from the poor part of town just like us. Is that so? But he was always a leery one. He had the brains, he had the savvy. Always coming up with smart ideas like what would never have gone through our heads. Core blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Milverton and Skulkin's milk run? Haha! That was a corker, eh? Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Oi, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And we was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong. Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please? I don't know. Could that sentimental story be relevant somehow? Add it to the testimony, please. My lord. Yes, counsel. The brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to this case. Very well, counsel, if you bloody well say so. I'm tired of this charade. I'll permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add. Doesn't matter, I just need that one line. Say no more, Skulkin's never skulkin'. Milverton and Skulkin's milk run. Core, them were the days. Them were the days.
Objection.
Fuck!